السلام عليك أيها المهذب الخائف السلام عليك أيها الغني المنصف السلام عليك يا سفينة النجاة.
Assalamu alaikum, my beloved ones, wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. There has been a few questions about Du'a Nudba, in its authenticity, in its validity, in its content. Question number 1. Is there a problem in the chain of narrators of Du'a Nudba? What do our maraja, our grand scholars, who are the authorities, our authorities in the time of occultation, when our imams are not here, so we follow them. So what do they say about Du'a Nudba? So these are the two questions. So let us explore the answers according to our great scholars. Allama Majlisi in his book Zad al-Mi'ad mentions that it has been reported by a reliable link of narrators or sanad from the sixth Imam Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam, though he does not mention the chain of narrators, sanad. However, it is apparent that him being a great scholar of hadith from the muhaddithin, he accepted its issuance from the Ma'soom alayhi salam. Ayatollah Nasir Makarim, he is a contemporary scholar in Qawm al-Muqaddasa. He considers Du'a Nudba to be authentic. Why? Because he says that Du'a Nudba is narrated in 4 reliable sources. And that's number 1. Number 2, the link of the narration of Du'a Nudba, the narrators are known to be authentic, reliable sources. Number 1, the book Mazarul Qadim and Mazarul Kabir for the great scholar known to be Al-Mashhadi, and he lived in the time of Allama Tabrasi, author of the book of Ihtijaj. And then we have Misbah Al-Zair, and then the last book Allama Majlisi, as we mentioned in Zad al-Mi'ad, he mentions this dua. As far as goes with sanad, Allama Majlisi in the great encyclopedia of hadith Bihar al-Anwar, he mentions this hadith. So he narrates from Muhammad ibn Ali ibn Yaqub ibn Ishaq ibn Abi Qurra. Who is Abi Qurra? As per Najashi, the scholar of narrators, the scholar of Rijal, he says Abi Qurra is thiqah, trustworthy, and he's author of many books, who narrates the Du'a Nudba. So that's the first narrator. He narrates from Bazawfari. Who is Bazawfari? Bazawfari was the teacher of Shaykh al-Mufid. Bazawfari lived in the time of minor occultation. And as the norm of the scholars of minor occultation was that whenever they have a religious concept, they would try to confirm it from our living Imam Mahdi, Ajjalallahu ta'ala farajahu sharif, through the appointed deputies. In fact, Aghay Buzurg al-Tahrani, in his book of Al-Dhari'a, in volume 8, page 184, confirms that the book of Dua by Bazawfari includes Du'a Nudba. So Ayatollah Nasir Makarim concludes that Du'a Nudba's sanad has no unknown narrators, and rather it's very well known and reliable. Then there is a general recommendation of reciting du'as. This general recommendation has been proven by authentic ahadith, has been proven by Quran. Ud'uni astajib lakum. So the Muslims unanimously, all the schools of thought, they confirm that recitation of dua is in general very highly recommended worship and recommended act. So any dua can be an application of this general recommendation. Du'a Nudba is a dua. So we do not need any specific recommendation or specific hadith for Du'a Nudba. It is sufficient that it falls as an application under this general recommendation. However, there's condition, as long as it was narrated in books of well-known trustworthy scholars, like Du'a Nudba. According to Sayyid al-Khuy rahmatullah alayh, Sayyid Sistani Damadullah, and other maraja such as Ayatollah Nasir Makarim and others, the narrations of recommended acts and du'as do not require the process of authentication of the link, sanad, of its hadith, as long as what? As long as the content of dua is not against the clear verses of the Quran or any authentic hadith or any logical concepts. Thus, it would be recommended to perform as an application of general recommendations of reciting the du'as with certain intention, and it can be recited with the legitimate hope of attaining the reward from God's unlimited grace by a servant seeking proximity to his all merciful Lord and Master.